Hello, guys. My name is Paul, and I'm glad you joined me on my ride. Today, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about moving from one state to another after I turned 40 years old. So, I turned 41 when we moved from New York to Texas. I already had kids, two daughters, and a beautiful wife. Originally, 2 years before, we probably didn't even think about moving out of New York, but COVID was one of the big kicks in our behinds to make us do it. We saw what was going on. We saw how New York handled the situation, how everything was locked down. You were forbidden to do many things. You were not allowed to do many things. You were simply pushed into doing something you don't want to do, and you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. And you weren't made to do it, but you were punished if you didn't do it. So they kept telling you they're not forcing you to do anything, but they also kept telling you, but if you don't do it, you'll get punished for it. You'll either lose your job, or you'll lose the ability to use public transportation or whatever it might be. So that was the case, and we didn't like it. We started looking around after having kids, because once you have kids or the kids are on the way, a lot of things change. The way you think change, the way you look at the things you look at change, things you're interested in change, because you're mostly concerned with the future of your children. So we started looking at what laws are implemented in New York, what is happening and being taught in New York schools, what is happening, and kind of what's going on overall, and what new laws are being implemented soon. And we didn't like what direction New York was going in. We got out of New York before, all the migrants started coming there, which was a big plus for us, because it would have made the situation more dangerous and harder overall. Now, we moved right after COVID. The big push to move to actually Texas was a friend of mine that moved to Texas first, a year before us. And we kind of wanted to find out what Texas is like before we made the decision. So I took a drive out to visit my friend. And kind of spent a few days in Texas, wanted to see how everything looks, how everything is, set up, how my friend lives, what are the house prices, what are the rental prices, what the food costs, what areas that we wanted to live in look like, and things like that. So we did look around, and I looked around for those couple of days, and I really loved what I saw. So after coming back, we kind of talked it over again, and we decided to make that move. Now, it was a tough move for me. Specifically, my wife was already with the kids in the house, and I had a regular job for the past 7 years, another 5 before that in a different company. So I had a steady job. I was never at home just sitting collecting unemployment or whatever it would be. I'm not that kind of person. I always worked. But I always wanted to not work for someone and just do something on my own. And the move to Texas kind of gave me that opportunity. Before I moved, I was in the stone industry for over 10 years. And stone meaning granite, marble, countertops overall. So when I moved to Texas and quit my job in New York, it was really, really scary. It was scary. I was afraid. And, you had to pay your bills. We rented a house here. Bills additional to that. And it was really, really scary. But I told my wife, when we had a discussion, I told her, listen, we're both over 40 already. if we're going to make that move to make our lives better and give a better opportunity and a future for our kids, we have to create something of our own and not work for somebody else and depend on someone. See, before my wife had kids, she went on maternity leave from a company called Kravit that she worked 17 years for. She was amazing for them. And when she moved, when she went on maternity leave, and then we had COVID, you know, all of a sudden they kind of were downsizing, you could say, and they let her go. They let her go. Afterwards, a couple months later, they wanted to hire her for a lower paid position and all that other stuff, and I told her, you're not going back there. So I just kept, you know, working for different companies for a few years, and then my wife getting treated like that by a company she worked for 17 years and was really good in. I saw that if we keep depending on other people to provide work for us and pay our salaries and our, you know, all of that, we'll never have our future in our own hands, in control. So when we moved, we had a discussion. I told my wife, listen, I've been doing this stone for so long. I pretty much know every aspect of it, going from fabricating it, installing it, repairing it, restoring it, and I know how to price it out. I was a project management, I was an estimator, I dealt with very high-end clients, so I had a lot of experience in that field. And I came to Texas, but I kind of, in the beginning, I wanted to move away from it because I got seduced by these commercials of sorry, I was looking at something. By these commercials of internet marketing companies, setting up your own agency and things like that. And I wanted to do that. I even bought a course for like $1,000 to learn about it. But cold calling, all that other stuff, that just isn't for me. I mean, growing my stone company, I had to do a little bit of it, but not as much as I would have to do having a internet marketing company. And I just didn't feel comfortable doing that. I wasn't a professional at it. I wasn't a specialist at it. I wasn't an expert at it. And restoring and repairing stone, I could easily say I am in the top probably 5% of stone restoration and repair guys in the United States. I'm good at it, period. So I did that internet marketing thing for about a month or two, and I stopped it, and I said, you know something, this is not going to work. I'm not into it. I'm going to start a company with stone, but not installing or fabricating, so I have very low cost of running the company, but I'm going to restore it and I'm going to repair it. So I started, So I started working. I started calling different companies in the area. I started calling designers, builders, contractors, just introducing myself, calling, emailing them. I went online. I looked for every business. I went on their website. I went and got their email address, and I emailed everybody I possibly could. That's how I formed a few of my very good contacts who give me work non-stop and keep me very busy thanks to that. The second thing I did, I started advertising online on Google. I started an Instagram account, which I was growing, and people started to get to know me and what kind of work I do. And I started getting recommendations and free recommendations. And by now, people tell me that they got recommended. They got me. I was recommended by somebody or some company, and I don't even know that company. So that's a huge plus. But the overall move from New York to Texas after 40 years old, it was super scary. But I also realized that being just over 40 at 41 years old, if I wanted to make such a big change for me and my family, especially with our kids being 1-2 years old at the time, it was the last possible time for me to do that safely enough for my kids and everything. They weren't in school yet. They didn't have friends there yet. So they were kind of free. I didn't have to rip them away from anything. So we're very happy with the move. And overall, I'm very surprised because I lived in New York for 24 years, but I don't miss it. I don't miss it at all. I don't miss New York at all. I don't miss Long Island. I've hated Manhattan because I worked there a lot of times. I hated Brooklyn because I worked there. Everything is so tight, so much traffic, dirty in a lot of places. I just didn't like it. I miss family that we have in New York, so that's the drawback. But I'm getting to the point in Texas where my business is getting to the point where I'm grown enough where my income will allow us to travel there for a few days anytime that we possibly want to visit everybody or invite someone here and even buy him a ticket or whatever, which would be great. And I know my wife loves when her family is visiting us, and she's got a lot of sisters. I apologize. I'm very tired, slept only 5.5 hours. Her sisters come over, her mom sometimes comes over and stays with us, and I have a really good relationship with her as well. And that's it. But we're glad we made the move. It's much easier to live in Texas than New York, of course, when you have an income. I am super happy I'm not working for anybody and I'm working for myself, and things are moving in the right direction. Now our kids are about 5 years old. We're about to make a decision on what to do with their school, either public school, home school, whatever school we decide to let them go. We have a lot more freedom in Texas to make that decision as well. So I think if you want to move, it's still easy enough to move after 40 years old, as long as you're not going to move and just sit on your ass and do nothing and wait for something to happen. You got to make things happen. I was sitting for weeks, like I said, looking for companies, emailing people, calling people, stopping by, leaving my business cards. And that's how things started to move for me. It's just gotten better and better and better, and that's it. So the move was great. I can tell you, if you guys are interested, how I moved, because I moved everything by myself. You can put that in the comments, and I will describe that to you in detail, because it was a journey. Not many people move that way, and I did it all on my own. So I hope you liked the video. I hope you liked that story. It's a genuine story, and this is exactly what I felt like. I was scared shitless. Even my ex-boss told me that he remembers when I came up to him and told him, listen, I'm quitting, I'm moving. He knew that I was super nervous talking to him about that, because I was already nervous. I knew how big of a decision I was making. And that's it. So if you guys have any questions, if you want me to describe the actual move and how I managed to do that, and which route I went to save costs and things like that, let me know. Let me know in the comments, and we'll go from there. I can make a video on that. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for listening. If you watched the whole video, I appreciate it. Like it. Subscribe to the channel, because there's going to be a lot more stories and shared thoughts on me driving, because I drive a lot for work. I drive a lot all around Texas. And if I have nice areas, I might actually show them to you. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you.